Hello everyone, I hope you're having a golden evening, a golden day, maybe a golden night. Who knows? I don't know. But anyways, I hope you're feeling a little malicious today, because today's subreddit that we're covering is r/MaliciousCompliance. Let's get right into the stories. This story is called, I'll Tell You What to Do. So this recently happened, and I thought I'd share it. University has its share of professors that want to help, as well as those who want to make it as hard as possible to simply pass the course. The lecturer I had was of the latter. In January, she talked mostly of her interest without teaching us. It was a research class. When asked about the course lessons, we got a snarky,
"Don't worry about the materials. Everything you need to know, I'll say."
At first, I was glad she didn't stick to the given schedule, but a couple weeks in, I had other thoughts. Fast forward to when online classes were a definite thing. I started recording the online lessons to review over the materials. Time and time again, she gave empty criticisms of our proposals and questionnaires. On one beautiful day, the exchange between her and a student went a little like this. "Teacher, what would we do about the research design diagram?"
As I kept saying to you all, I will tell you what needs to be done. What I don't specifically point out or say is not of importance. In other words, I'm telling you all what I'm going to use to mark your papers.
Okay, I understand. After class, I texted my friend and repeated our teacher's words and asked if she said anything about sources. My friend said no. Thus, my plot for malicious compliance began. Now, for my university research older than 10 years and textbooks were not supposed to be used, but only a few lecturers adhered to that. While gathering articles, I added articles older than 10 years and 2 textbooks. Once the research was finished, I took the lesson and got the audio of her strictly explaining that what she doesn't say is of no importance. When the due date came, I happily submitted it to her and waited for her to contact me. She sent me a message a few days later, and the glorious conversation was as follows.
I noticed that you had a couple articles before 2010 and 2 textbooks as sources.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
You know this is going to hurt your grade badly, right?
I honestly believe my grade will be just fine.
And why are you so confident in that?
I then took the audio from the lesson and sent it to her.
Why did you send me that?
I just wanted you to know that you didn't say we couldn't use them, and like you said, if you don't mention it, it's of no importance in terms of grading. She didn't reply after that, and I got my grade back about 4 days later. I don't know what makes me happier, getting back at her, or the B+ on my final grade. Oh, this is great, I love it. Oh man, like, I don't know, maybe if he actually did put in the effort of using the sources he was supposed to use, maybe he could have gotten an A, but I mean, he's happy for having that B+. And honestly, when I was in high school, and I'm not in college yet, but like, when I was in high school, I'd be happy with just barely a C, honestly. I was a pretty lazy guy, so yeah, I barely was able to graduate, but I graduated anyways, and I'm happy about it. Next story! This story is called, A Mortar Man is Not One to Shortchange. In my teens, I dropped out of school to go work with my dad, who was a foreman of a masonry crew. We had some great times, which I wouldn't trade for anything. I was the mortar man. My responsibilities were to start making mud in the morning, supply it to the masons, then clean up the mixer at the end of the day. As a mortar man, I had to start before everyone else, and end after everyone else was done. This is only about 15 minutes before and after work. I was always paid a half hour for my extra work, so things were fine. A few years later, my dad became a building inspector, and I had moved with my crew to different companies. It wasn't uncommon for us to move to a different masonry company every year. We would try to always get as many of us on the same crew as possible. One company didn't care if I worked the half hour each day, and I guess they just assumed I'd like to do it for free. I had told the boss that I needed to get paid for that extra time. He just told me I needed to figure out how to finish when everyone else was finished. In my head, I was like, okay, I'll do that. The next day, as it was time to stop working, I made a full batch of mortar in the mixer. This was the large 3-bag mixers, not the ones you get at Home Depot, and walked away. Regardless of me making the full batch, the mixer was generally half full at the end of the day, which I would fill out couch cells on my own time. It was Friday, so the mortar had plenty of time to set. At some point in the weekend, the mixer was discovered and all hell broke loose. Not only was the mortar mixer ruined, but someone at the yard thought it was possible to try to turn the paddles by putting it in gear. This instantly sheared the main pin. Here is a part that is sad and makes me regret my teenage a-hole actions. For God knows why, the yard guy put his finger in the pinhole, and it sheared his finger clean off. I truly regret that, and in all my years of masonry, never did I think someone would put a finger in the main pinhole. I was called by my foreman, who was a part of my crew for years, and he told me that the owner wanted to fire me, but my crew said that if I was fired, they all walked. My dad, being the guy that inspected most of our work, helped. I worked for this company a little longer until my crew moved on to create their own masonry company. No one from the old company ever confronted me about this, which did make sense as they knew I was pissed about my pay, and fistfights are not uncommon in the masonry world. And not to brag, but I was in silly good shape. It was nice when you could warn someone not to F with you, not to avoid a fight because you didn't want to give them PTSD for bashing you in the face. Oh jeez, I shuddered a little bit when I heard that the guy's finger was lost. I've worked in, not really construction or masonry, it's metalworking. I would work with my dad in making industrial sized ovens for like the Navy and stuff like that. And like, I'd have to cut metal with like this really fast saw thing. And I did not like that thing. It was loud, it was very noisy. And I was always scared that the saw thing would always fly off and like slice off my arm or something like that. So I would always stand like a solid 10 feet away from it. Well anyway, that was a mighty fine story, so let's move on to the next one. This story is called Blazing Sauce for Karen's Brat, Please. Obligatory, I'm on my phone and it makes my spelling and grammar suck sometimes. I hope this belongs here. I used to work in a fairly well-known chain of buffalo wing eateries. You know, the ones with 27 huge screens and screaming fans of every sport. We had a family dining area, and this particular Sunday night, in walks Karen with her slew of kids and adults all wanting to celebrate a birthday. Table for 20? No problem. Of course, Karen isn't paying for anyone, so they all line up to the cashier booth to order, and birthday boy is first. He appears to be around 10 to 12 years old, and he peers over the counter at me and says he wants 24 blazing wings. If you know our store, you know our sauces. Blazing was the spiciest sauce we had, so spicy that you needed gloves if you were going to have prolonged contact. I told the kid that those wings were very hot, and maybe he'd like to try our sweet barbecue or even our hot sauce. The kid throws a fit. My manager is behind me and Karen is berating me for not giving her
Precious birthday boy
what he wanted. My manager whispers for me to just give him what he wants, so I put in his order and apologize to Karen. Then I place everyone else's orders. By the time the last of the 20 were ordering, the first kid was getting their food. Who do you think comes to the counter with a tray of 24 blazing wings? Karen, of course. She's irate and screaming over the din of cheering spectators. How dare I give her precious child something so spicy that it burns his mouth? She wants a refund not just for the wings, but for the whole family's meal. She's threatening lawyers and medical bills, and sure enough, she had to ask the age-old Karen adage.
Let me speak to your manager.
So I go tell him what's happened, and I do feel bad because I have a soft spot for kids, even the evil ones. He comes out and tells Karen that he was present when I told her and the kid that they were too hot, and he heard her insist that they be given to him. He pointed to the cameras and mentioned the microphones and informed her she would not be getting any money back, and the kid would not be getting a replacement. If he wanted a different flavor, she could buy it, or he could eat what he ordered. She gave us a terrible review, but the kid coming back with his mommy crying after eating what I told them both was too hot was something special to me, and I still remember it to this day. Oh man, this dude's evil. I love it. It just brings a smile to my face. Although I feel that kid's pain. I'm not one to eat too much spicy food. Maybe like once a month. Maybe twice a month I'd eat something spicy. But like, I cannot eat spicy food for the life of me. Even though I'm Hispanic and it's like the whole stereotype that, oh yeah, Mexicans eat hot chip and whatever. Yeah, I cannot do hot chips. My tongue is like, nope, bad. Anyways, on to the next story. Welcome back to another Discord with the Weeb on the Golden Weeb's House of Mio. Introduce yourself again, guys.
Yo, it's me.
Oh, I'm Flame Striker, or Gemini, or Bajuka. I've been here. I fell.
I tripped over my thermos.
Oh, that doesn't sound very nice.
Hello,
Oh.
I'm Midnight Waters. Yoroshiku have.
Alright, you idiots! Today we're doing r/Tumblr!
Perfect.
I have leaked footage of my doctor after I give him a piss sample.
Dude, we need to see that. Dude, what's the leak footage? Bro, you drink a lot of water. That pissed me white. That pissed me. Congratulations, Albert.
Congratulations! You found Albert, the unfindable crab. Now time will collapse.
Wait,
Oh no!
what?
Well, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, give that like button a gentle tap. And if you didn't, do it anyways. Please consider subscribing and please give that bell a ring to be notified when I update. Thank you so much once more and have a golden day.